What's up, Mortgage Coach community? Today, I am interviewing Brian Manning. Brian, this is the first time I think I've interviewed you like this, but
Yeah.
I'm pumped, buddy. You know, I've heard a lot of great things about you.
Sweet. I'm stoked to be here. And Dave, man, I've been a Mortgage Coach fan for many years. You guys, I was telling you back before, man, since CD-ROMs, showing my age in this mortgage industry. So we've been Mortgage Coach believers for a really long time, and super stoked to be here. And thank you so much for having me part of this.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped. And when we were having our prep call, hearing that you date back to the CD-ROM days, for all you new millennials that are listening to this, back in the day, you actually had to put a disc, you know, like a CD-ROM. You don't even know what that is. But
Nope.
Google it. You know, it was a thing back in the day. So
that's right.
So Brian, I want to interview you because not only are you doing great things with Mortgage Coach, dating back to CD-ROM age, but you've really adopted technology in a way that I think is amazing. You know, so folks, before I get started, the way I got this interview is I was talking to Todd Bookspan and Bill Hart, and I was asking them, like, hey guys, what were the big takeaways from a recent retreat that Building Champions did? And you were like a highlight. So why don't you, I want to make sure we get to that. We get to Mortgage Coach, but why don't we tell everybody a little bit about your team and a little bit about your mortgage practice first?
Yeah. So we're located in Boulder, Colorado, originally from South Florida, and moved here 7 years ago. We didn't know a single person when we got here. So hit the ground, just running, working as hard as we can, building relationships. I've been in this business for 21 years now. Right now we're averaging, 19, 20 units a month. Luckily enough to be in a good market with good loan amounts. So that probably equates to 19.5 to 20 million a month in volume right now,
Cool.
which is pretty good. I'm pretty stoked. So just like you said, this kind of came from talking with Bill Hart. I'm a member in Building Champions. Love those guys. Michael Reagan's my coach there. So big shout out to Michael Reagan he's a huge part of our success and growing the market the way we have, and talking with Bill Hart and Brooks Spann in the house. I mean, certainly love Win by Noon. I've been running this thing. I started with a different kind of tracker a little while ago, and I think that Win by Noon has blown away some other coaching programs trackers that are out there. We don't need to say anything about them, but I think that they crush it as well. So I have to give a lot of props to those guys for supporting our business and really providing tools to us. And then, this kind of what we're talking about today came from a conversation we had with Bill Hart, just at one of our walks at the TMC event in Seattle last week. And we were just talking about texting. And, I guess I kind of have this thing that in the lives that we live in right now, that we're all stimulated, right? Our mental stimulation is increasing on a consistent basis, right? Everyone lives with phones in their hands and technology is everywhere. So I feel like it's kind of our requirement or our business to keep up with people and their stimulation as well. And that's what's really led to a lot of the video texting that we've done as well, because texts go through like that. Video is something that's highly watched. And I just think that, as people require more and more mental stimulation, just shooting off a email like we used to do doesn't really check that box anymore. We're really having to step up our business and really, get up there for competing with other stimulation out there and making sure that we're breaking through. So yeah, it's kind of what got us here today.
Well, I can tell you, just hearing how you open that in the story and the production, I am definitely going to want to invite you and do a full 1 hour top producer interview on one of our Tuesday calls.
Sure.
If you're game. So community, we will get questions answered, because think about it, guys. He got parachuted into Boulder, competitive market. There's a lot of great mortgage professionals there 7 years ago, and now he's closing 20 loans. So, I mean, that's a whole story within itself.
Yep.
I want to hear that whole story, but let's make sure we unpack this video texting.
Yeah.
I want to make sure everybody gets it. We're talking about you're not using, third-party software. You're just pulling up. No. Is it an iPhone? You have an iPhone?
I have an iPhone 7. Yeah. It's a one model back, iPhone 7.
Get the new iPhone as a recommendation. So
I know. I need to.
I'm telling you, trust me, the mic, the video, you're going to love it.
Yep.
So I'm going to really Michael Reagan, make sure this guy upgrades his iPhone. When you hear this, like, put that on his accountability for the next coaching session.
There you go.
Yeah. So and then you are just going into the person on your text, and you're using a tripod, same one I use.
Yeah.
And you're recording. How long are these videos, and how many of these videos, and who are they to?
So they're like 20-second videos. The videos, depending on when we send them out. Well, first I should back up and say it's really important to have a good CRM. So I'm prepped before I start doing these, and I have kind of my CRM with the list of people that we're going after. So if it's Fridays, I'm going after realtors. I have all my realtors already easily laid on the CRM, A's, B's, C's, and prospects. So I can see who they are. And then, it's averages about a 20-second text to each video. To each realtor that we're sending out. And I just do it right on the phone in the contacts. If you go into a person in the text and you open up the contact, it opens up, like you're going to send a little text. Bottom left of that text is a little camera icon. You click on that and you just slide it over to video. Flip the screen so it's looking at you with the little button, record for 20 seconds and hit send. I don't overthink it. If you stutter a little, no worries. Sometimes I screw up and I just laugh, and I just try and keep it real, because it's, if you're already sending a video to someone, you're already trying to connect with them on a personal level. So minor screw ups here and there, I just hit send and move on. And people are actually, they love them. That's what we do. So some Fridays I pump out like 90 of them. And I use it on Wednesdays as well to follow up with our prospects. Just checking in for people who have pre-approvals about their shopping for houses. So we put out a lot of videos, or I put out a lot of videos on a weekly basis, and our feedback is just phenomenal. We get a ton of feedback off of it.
Yeah. So we're talking over 100. All of your, your realtors that you have an ongoing relationship are getting a weekly mobile to mobile, text to text video from you every week.
Yep.
And I love it. And guys, here's the deal. I did this interview with Josh Metal a couple of weeks ago that I called The Art and Science of Personal Connection. And Josh is doing, I don't know that he's doing it to his realtors and partners yet, although after he hears about this, he probably will. But he is definitely making it part of his consumer experience. So he's pre-TCA, he's sending a video or mobile video. Yep. And then he's using that to drive the mortgage coach conversation. So are you doing that with your borrowers?
So when we do pre-approvals, we do a video as well. And then we do that to drive into the mortgage coach, the total cost analysis. And then I also do it post-closing. I send an email post-closing with the total cost analysis, and we do a video to drive that as well. Yeah, so we use it on both sides.
Okay, so
I should tell you why we got really stoked about this as well. So I started doing these videos, and this realtor, a great realtor in town who I've been pursuing for a while, reached back out to me. This is after I sent her like 3 videos with no response. And she says, "Hey, can I meet you at your office?" "Sure, come on in." So she comes in. She just says, "I just wanted to see your office." Sits down, we're talking. And at the end of the conversation, she says, "Those texts that you send me every Friday, never stop sending those." She says, "You are top of mind every Friday, and there's not a single lender in town that's reaching out to me every single Friday to let me know that they're available this weekend and when they're available to do pre-approvals." And she was the clincher. When she sat across my desk, and told me that, because she was one of my realtor prospects, I never stopped doing it again after that, because she just solidified right there that how easy it was to make the whole thing work.
And she's a top producing, very high value relationship. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it makes total sense, because let's face it, like, we live in this world now. I don't know what the word you use, but attention is the thing that presence and attention is a commodity. And like my birthday, I get lots of likes on Facebook, and my birthday is coming up. I like those likes, so feel free to like it. But there's a few people that sent me a voice or a text video, and I remember those. It really like it got outside the clutter, and it connected in a very personal way. So it just makes sense, that getting a text video, we haven't screwed it up yet. Like, we're marketers,
right?
Flash forward 2 to 3 years from now, we will probably have blown up that place, but there'll be another uncluttered platform in a way to deliver personal value and engagement. So, okay,
that's what it is.
So cool. So we got that. So now let's talk about, it's cool how you're doing that. When you get into Mortgage Coach, first of all, how often are you giving a total cost analysis to a borrower? Is that like everyone's getting it? You know, what percentage do you estimate are getting a total cost analysis?
So at somewhere in the transaction right now, actually 100% of our borrowers are getting a total cost analysis. And we really provide them in 3 different areas. If it's just a pre-approval and they're not under contract yet, then we provide it there to teach them about kind of a variety of options. If they're under contract, we may use it there if we need to, if we're trying to set ourselves apart from other people or compare loan options. Or the third is at post-closing, we use it to show them the opportunity to pay additional every month and then pay down the principal balance faster. So in our process, somewhere in there, 100% of our clients are getting a total cost analysis. Some are getting it at all 3 stages, depending on how early they get to us in the process. Some are getting it at 1 stage, just kind of depends, but 100% get them now.
Okay, so within the, you know, I'm winning the business, I'm winning the relationship, and then are you doing annual reviews? So, you know, you're continuing to provide annual value with the total.
Exactly.
Okay, so killing it. That's like, that is the model. And then when it comes to TBD, they don't have a house in escrow yet. What are the most common pre-purchase strategies that you're putting in there?
You know, if they don't have a house, we look at the maximum amount they qualify for, and let's just say it's like $400K. Then I really do an example in a TCA of a purchase price with maybe like $400K, $375, $350, $325. I'm trying to show them a range of options in the beginning, because sometimes they just don't even know where they stand financially. They're not aware of what a purchase price equates to as far as cash to close is concerned or monthly payments. So we're just trying to educate people really on like a range of options in the beginning. And some of them are more sophisticated, so they're just going to come to me and say, hey, we know we're going to buy a house for whatever, 1.2, and I'm interested in learning about a fixed rate versus an adjustable. Someone like that might be, you know, not a first-time home buyer that's more sophisticated. Then we're going to take the TCA and just gear it up towards very specific loan programs to help them get a good grasp of what's going on in the market right now as far as financing is concerned. So I guess there's kind of 2 different options we use there depending on the borrower's sophistication or even just, you know, how knowledgeable they are of the overall home buying process.
I like that. And then I am hearing a lot of Mortgage Coach leaders that are doing, if, you know, MI is involved, MI options. I'm hearing a lot of interest rate options, like, hey, here's today's rate, here's higher, here's lower. Like if they think they're getting shopped, they're putting in different options. If they're competing with an online lender, they're always putting in 2 points. So it's like, hey, this is a low rate. This not, so you're doing all that. Right. Okay. So let's get into a specific TCA. You pick this, you know, and I always look at like there's a story and there's a strategy. So like as you show us a TCA, tell us the story and strategy. And then also if you could integrate into how you're telling the story, we want to hear your scripting. Like how do you position the total cost analysis for the family so that they, you know, they get it?
Absolutely.
They're excited about it.
Yeah. So you mind if I change over to that now?
Yeah. I'll tell you when I see your screen.
Cool.
Boom. Got it.
Okay. So, you know, my scripting of the total cost analysis, and this is a pre-approval that we did that kind of shows the range of options. My scripting is, you know, I may tell you that you're qualified for a purchase price of $400,000, but I'm basing this off your gross income. I don't know what your personal needs are. And just because I'm telling you qualified at $400K, you know, once we go through these scenarios, you may realize, well, $400K is amazing, but, you know, based on my own personal budget, there's no way I'm ever going to buy a house at $400K. I really should stay around $350. So we're a believer the pre-approval process is front-end loaded, that we're trying to educate these people in the beginning as far as what the numbers look like, so that when they're hopping in their car with their realtor and driving around, the realtor is really showing them their homes that really meet their price range. We don't want to figure out once they find a home and go under contract that they're now into a home, you know, even though it met the pre-approval availability, it doesn't meet their financial needs, because now they're upset and deflated, and we just don't want that. So a lot of my scripting in the beginning just revolves around educating people on the range of options, especially with first-time home buyers, if they're just kind of unsure as far as the scenarios that they're looking at. So we just keep it simple, and it depends on the price range. If someone's a $1.3 million buyer and they're a first-time home buyer, which, believe it or not, we get that here in Boulder, we may do an option based off 1.3, 1.2, 1.1, and $1 million, just to kind of have some variety in there as well. So we're always trying to keep the numbers that are kind of realistic, that are approaching the borrower and what their needs are. It wouldn't make sense to take a first-time home buyer at $1.2 million and do, 1.2, 1.1175, 1.115. The numbers would be too close, or it wouldn't make enough sense. So this was a first-time home buyer, and yeah, we just put 4 different options in here. And then, so when we send this out, we send a video. I really strive to meet with as many borrowers as we can, but a lot of people don't want to meet with me. So I use Zoom just like you use. If they don't want to meet with me, I do a Zoom video conference with them, and I pull up the TCA and walk through the whole thing with them as well.
Got it. And then do you add the video using Mortgage Coach, so the video's integrated into the TCA?
We do an intro video, but what I really, the intro video is just to kind of say hello and make it personal. I really want to actually have a conversation with them through either face-to-face or something like Zoom, and be able to really explain to them and answer questions. So the videos, they're just not very elaborate. I think that you lose the opportunity to really be their trusted advisor if you say too much in the video. I think you really got to get them, face-to-face, however you want to do it, to really go through the explanation process. Got
it. So your videos are more, you're just putting your personality around it. We do recommend, shout out to the realtor if it was a referral from a realtor.
Yeah.
So good. So do you ever put, emphasis on the 5, I noticed this is for over 5 years, get them to look, midterm, long-term, because at the end of the day, that's what no one else is doing. Like, everyone's showing transactional details. Not everybody is saying, hey, let's look at this over 5 years. Let's look at this. You told me you wanted to have your home paid off, in 20 years. Let's look at this over that horizon. Are you, focusing on those numbers in the TBD?
So I don't focus on them as much in the TBD, but once they go under contract, and, if we're looking at like a monthly PMI for the borrower versus LPMI, and we're, kind of dialing in on a difference in interest rates and difference in PMI, under an example like that, then yeah, we're really looking at the 5-year or, whatever their plans are. I always ask them, what is the shortest and longest amount of time you think you're going to own the home for? And I tell them, I know that this is kind of a guess because no one really knows, but that's my question. And then I fill in the short-term and the long-term savings here based off what they think would be the shortest and longest amount of time. So yeah, so once we dial in, we look at the, PMI versus non-PMI, or if it's an ARM versus a fixed rate, then we definitely get really clear on what the cost or the savings would be over that time frame associated with the financing.
Okay, makes sense. And suggestion to a lot of people watching this, we're hearing more and more that rate shopping is a thing. Like I talked to a top producer the other day that said they used to get rate shopped 20 to 30% of the time, and now it's like 70, 80% of the time. And sometimes don't have the best rate. So I am recommending to the Mortgage Coach community, be proactive. Assume you're getting shopped. The question is, when do you get grinded, or if you get grinded? But if you put a little more emphasis on the 5-year, you're going to be in the position that if you get shot, you can then go, oh, did the other lender show you the difference over 5 years in the 15? Oh, they didn't do that. And then you can also say, well, hey, let's put in their rate. And let's say they have an 1/4, 3/8 better rate. When you look at the difference over 5 years, it's not that much. Like I did an interview with a leader of a region in Seattle, and he says that if it's less than $5,000 over 5 years, they're like, I'm going with you. They're not even worried about monthly. So just Mortgage Coach community, that 5 years, one, it earns trust because it's extreme transparency, and then 2, you can use it strategically down the road. Well, let's we get this TCA. If anyone's watching this, I can assure you I'm going to be interviewing Brian again. So, hopefully if you got a takeaway, which I did, do videos, do total cost analysis, give us a like, and share this with your mortgage friends. You mentioned that there are 3 other touch points in which you're doing a TCA. If you could pull up another one and tell us what you're doing there.
Yeah, so we do a TCA for all of our clients that close. And the purpose of this is we send it about a week after closing. I have a little pre-made email that we put it into. I send them a video, and then I follow up with a phone call as well. And this TCA actually shows them, we put in all their current mortgage terms. So what I'm really setting myself up for is going to be my annual mortgage review that I'm going to do in a year. And so I already have all their current financing information in there. And in the phone call, we explain with the process of an annual mortgage review and what we're setting them up for. And then we just show them the differences here of, we do almost all of them the same of $100 a month, $200 a month, $300 a month, $400 a month extra, just to keep it simple. But we really get into the life of the loan, and we start to show people, how much they can save over the life of the loan with making additional principal payments, and even, what even just $100 a month extra in your monthly payment can do. So for us, I think it's just really a great way to stay in touch with someone after they close, because they're not expecting to get something like this post-closing. And it really sets us up well for the annual review call, because, we're going to go back through this in their annual review, and we've really, they've seen this multiple times. So it just kind of sets us up for being an advisor for them in the future.
Brian, you are killing it, man. I love this. And so guys, here's the deal. At the point of sale, he's creating that client for life experience. It's got his brand. It's shareable.
Yeah.
He's using video in a very personal and tailored way. And then he's doing annual reviews. So, I mean, obviously, I know you're probably doing a lot of other things incredibly well, and I'm looking forward to hearing those. Anything else you want to show on this TCA before we kind of wrap up?
Nope.
Okay, I am going to take the screen from you real quick. If you could just share or confirm that you can see my screen. Boom.
Got it.
And, a couple things, guys. So I'm going to upload this. It will be in our mortgage strategy playlist. So this is where I'm interviewing top producers that are killing it with Mortgage Coach. That means they're creating hundreds, thousands of TCAs, and we're doing mortgage strategies on that. So the last one I did was with Bliss Sawyer. She was the winner of last month's contest, where it was 30 dials a day and 10 TCAs a week. And she went from where she averaged 200 dials, so she was prospecting about 200 people a month, to 870. And she also went from where, she's doing 10, 15 total cost analysis a month, and she did 82 in 1 month. So she won the contest. Yep. Check out this interview. And then also, if you're on this call and you are not part of our Facebook group, get involved, be active in our community, go into that Facebook group. So Brian, it sounds like you might know Bliss, as I was mentioning her. Do you know? I
just met her for the first time, Ed. I just met her for the first time at the TMC event in Seattle last weekend. She's a rock star. Her personality is huge. She's a brilliant woman, and huge shout out to her for winning that contest. That's a lot of work to go through that many dials and TCAs and really nail it.
Yeah, and for those of you that go how'd she do all those TCAs? She was doing two big ideas for you guys. Doing it for her pre-approvals. And then I thought this was a smart idea. You know how you have your active funnel of pre-approvals, and then you have people that are just kind of falling off the wagon. They haven't done it.
Yep.
She's like, I went back and rebooted those. So she went back to her kind of, I don't know what you want to call them, on hold, older pre-approvals, and recycled those. And then she killed it with her past customers. She made sure that everybody that had done a loan that month, the year before, got a TCA. So guys, I asked her, what were your takeaways? She's like, the more calls I make and the more I live in Mortgage Coach, the more money I make. And I'm like, right?
There's no need to, it sounds super simple, but that's exactly what it is. There's no need to overcomplicate it.
And then, you did add a third core thing, which is leave personal videos, 20 seconds, no more than a minute. Just let people know that I'm here, I care, and I'm a human. Just show up. Showing up's half the battle. So Brian, as we wrap this up, any final words of wisdom? You know, you're a leader. I mean, if you're closing that kind of business, I mean, you are like the 1% of 1%. Any leadership advice for just new loan officers or people that want to get to the next level?
You know, I listened to this interview a long time ago from Tim Rahim, and he said, in this business, the person with the most friends wins. And I just realized, damn, all I got to do is go make friends. I can do that. So that's it. In this business, the person with the most friends wins. So you just got to figure out how to make connections with people, and you know, be very personable and thoughtful in your connections, and listen to people when they talk to you, and pay attention to what's going on. And I would say that would be my suggestion.
Well, that's a good suggestion. I would add one thing to that, because the way you are leveraging technology, it's uncommon. I mean, you know, and I think it's so important that, you know, when people meet you in person, connect with them, you know, like never before. And I interviewed Tim recently about personal connection, and in this digital world we live in, you know, presence and connection is uncommon, but here's the deal. When they're not face to face with us, we need to emulate that as much as we can. And that means video, guys, you know, use video strategically. Sure. So brother, I appreciate you. For everybody watching this, if you got value, give us a like, share it with your mortgage friends. And
for sure.
Brian, I will be in touch for you and I to do another call and have you on our Tuesday interview.
Sounds good. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, take care, brother.